I think there's something to doing difficult tasks that it makes life easier. I really believe that. I think it makes life more enjoyable. I think it makes the bright colors brighter, and it makes the dull colors, even the bad moments. If you have real positive experiences with difficult things that you choose to do on your own, I think it mitigates most of the hassle of life. It's hard to be comfortable with yourself. So it's very hard to be comfortable with other people. That's why I always stress with people, like, you've got to accept yourself for what you've done wrong. Do your best, and also find some difficult to do, because that gets away a lot of the anxiety that you carry around in your body. Difficult things make regular life less difficult. And that sounds so simplistic, but particularly physically difficult things. Because when you do things that are physically difficult, the strain of making yourself do those things, it's very valuable. It's not just valuable in terms of like health and the way you look, but it's also valuable for your mind, maybe even more so. Because regular life can be confusing, and little things that go wrong and little problems that arise are exacerbated by the fact that you're not accustomed to dealing with hardship. So creating your own bull, whether it's through some brutal kettlebell exercise or running up hills or something, is extremely valuable for you also, not just accepting the nuanced perspectives of other people, but also being able to navigate through this world with some sort of an understanding of just how complex it all is and how weird it all is, and not be overly thrown off by every little dip in the road and pothole that you encounter. Test yourself, and when you test yourself and you have to figure your way through something or change the path because the path that you were on was unsuccessful, when you're doing that, it's really good for the mind. This idea that there's some sort of nobility and humility and not caring about your body, it's silly. I'm not saying you have to be a bodybuilder. Keep your body moving in a way. It's just a laziness thing. It's a discipline thing. It feels good to move your body. It feels good to do things, whether it's yoga, running. But I just like moving my body, man. I like running up hills. You move your body, get it going. You'll feel better afterwards. I know you don't want to do it. I hardly ever want to do it. I know what it's like to not want to do it. I just start talking to myself. I go, come on, what are you talking about? Push past that creepy resistance that Stephen Pressfield wrote about in The War of Art. It applies to cleaning your room. It applies to saying you're sorry to a friend. It applies to taking care of a debt. All those things. When you see a problem, you got to fix it. When you see a thing you have to do, go do it. Get your shit in order. My workout, I schedule every Sunday. I schedule everything that I'm going to do during the week. I say I have to do yoga 2 times this week. I have to lift weights 3 times this week. I have to run twice this week. And however I fit that in, I fit that in. But I owe those things. The only exceptions are injuries and sickness. So that's the schedule. And then on top of that, there's other things that I enjoy doing: kickboxing, jiu-jitsu. Work those in when I can. Then diet. The diet is pretty strict in terms of like no bread, very few carbs, no sugar, no healthy food, a lot of vegetables, a lot of meat, and I take vitamin supplements every day. I do everything that I can to put my body and my brain in a good place so that I'm keeping my engine smooth. I'm changing my oil, I'm changing my spark plugs, I'm making sure that it's operating. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but I know that I've done my best to keep it working the best that it can. Stephen Pressfield wrote about it in The War of Art. He talks about this thing that we all have. It's this voice in your head that wants you to do nothing. This voice in your head, and he calls it resistance. This resistance that is in your head, and that you have to decide that you are a professional. This is what a professional does. Goes to work and they give in to the muse. Okay, the concept of the muse, whether or not it's real, but the concept of the muse is you settle in and receive creativity almost like as a divine gift from this magical entity, the muse. Now, whether or not it's real is not important. What's important is if you treat it as if it's real, it does work. And what works is If you dedicate your time and your focus, like realistically, with a professional, disciplined effort to creativity, you show up every day like a professional, but you show up to be creative. If you just do it on a regular basis, ideas will come to you. Where are these ideas coming from? Well, his concept was to think of it as you're a professional and you're getting these ideas from the muse. And this is what you do. You show up and you do the work, you focus on it, and these ideas will come to you. And that's really true. If you really stop and think about it, if you write something, whether it's the most brilliant thing you've ever written or whether you're not good at editing and it turns out to be dog, where's that coming from, man? You're just sitting down in front of your laptop and these thoughts are coming to you and all of a sudden you're talking about a kid who's riding a bike and he gets attacked by a werewolf. Like, where the is this coming from? If it's not coming from the muse, where is it coming from? Well, it's coming from my creativity. Okay. Do you know how to access your creativity like you can blink? No, you don't. It's a non-repeatable thing. Treat it like it's magic, but treat it like you're a professional and you show up to engage with the magic. So every day at the same time, you sit down in front of your keyboard and you start working and just put in the work and force yourself to do it. Force it like a muscle, like the same muscle that you develop when you go running every day. And then you get to the point where like 7 days in, you start feeling good running.
Right. So you start to feel like you're good at it.
You start feeling like you're getting better because you're putting in the time. Most men live lives of quiet desperation. It's true. And I've been that guy. You're just in this world where you just can't wait to just run away. You have an apartment you have to pay for. You have a car you leased. You have a wife that you have to feed. You have a child you have to raise. You have your mortgage. You have your this, you have your that. And that's where it all comes from.
Where do you think opportunity plays into that?
Well, the opportunity takes place usually when you're young and you don't have any responsibility. That's when you have your options. That's the only way you ever get where you want to go. You have to take a path that's dangerous. And most people want to take the safe path. And the safe path leaves you stuck in quiet desperation. Well, your options are severely limited the more you gather responsibilities. The way you can change is you have to put aside enough money to give yourself a window. And then you have to have a plan. And you have to spend all your waking hours outside of whatever job you do planning your escape. And you have to come to the realization very clearly that you f***ed up and you got yourself stuck. So whatever you're doing, you have to do it like your life depends on it. Wondering why other people are successful is the refuge of losers. It's a loser mentality. It's a loser occupation. It's a loser practice because you're wondering why other people are successful. Who gives a f-? You can say you think it sucks, but to spend time wondering why someone is successful, it doesn't do any good. Your mind, you have a certain amount of bandwidth. I don't spend time wondering why I hate things or hating on someone or being jealous. You have let's call it units. You have 100 units of bandwidth in your mind. So that means there's 100 units that you can spend on things you care about, or you could let your mind be occupied by some stupid Twitter feud that you're in with some idiot that you don't even know, and you could spend 30% of your mind bandwidth on this, and then you only have 70% for the things you love. And then maybe you're involved in some relationship and you're arguing back and forth with them. Well, there's another 30% that's gone. Now you have 40% left. You have 40% for the things you love instead of 100%. Only concentrate on the things you care about that mean something to you. My concentrating on people that suck or being jealous about people that are doing well does me zero good. But instead, if someone does well, I can be inspired and I can get fired up by it. Through time and effort, you build a stronger human. We need each other. We have this sort of very strange, loose-fitted community of all human beings together. Sometimes you don't find someone for a long time, and then when you do, it changes your whole life. You find someone, maybe it's just a YouTube video, and it's you just pushing people and telling people to go get after it, and people see that, and all of a sudden it's like they get goosebumps, their heart starts racing. It's like you gave them a drug, like you gave them fuel. And then they want to change their life. And then they want to watch you tomorrow. And then they want to watch you when they're at lunch break. They want to watch you, they're taking. You literally can change a person's life through that. And like if you accomplish everything you ever wanted to accomplish, but nobody's there with you, nobody cares, nobody likes you, it's useless. Love is the most important thing. And that sounds so cliche, but without love, it's all useless. The more you can spread positive energy, the more people will love you.